Hello, Mighty Math Team. How are you? Okay, so last time we did adding mixed numbers. So today we're moving on to subtracting mixed numbers without, oh, it just beeped at me. So we're going to be doing subtracting mixed numbers without common denominators. So we're going to have to find those common denominators. And then we might have to do some borrowing of those. So let's title our page Subtracting Mixed Numbers and then in parentheses we'll do with borrowing. Okay, so let's start off refreshing our memory about subtracting mixed numbers just with borrowing, not having to figure out a common denominator. So here's one. We're going to do 3 2/5 minus 1 3/5. And this is once again why we always start with a fraction, because even though our 2/5 is smaller than our 3/5, it's still, as a whole, our number on top is still larger because our whole number is larger. So what we need to do is borrow from that whole number to make an improper fraction. So what you're going to do is, when you think about this, 3, a whole number, is the same as when a number is, a numerator and denominator are the same. Well, we want to keep our denominators the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my denominator, which is a 5. So I know 5/5 is the same as 1. So I'm going to borrow one whole from over here. So I'm going to cross it off and make 2. And I borrowed a whole. So now I have 2/5 plus 5/5 equals 7/5. So now my 7/5, I can subtract 3/5 from 7/5. So 7/5 minus 3/5 is 4/5. And then I'm going to subtract my whole numbers. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my answer is 1 4/5. So hopefully that was just a quick review from last year when we added and subtracted mixed numbers. So now let's move on to subtracting mixed numbers when we have to make a common denominator. So here's a problem. 4 1/5 minus 2 3/6. Okay, so we have to figure out what the common denominator is. So we're going to go 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. Now I could stop there, but I already know my 5s, and all my multiples of 5 have to end in 5 or 0. None of these end in 5 or 0, so I'm going to keep going. So then I have 6 times 4 is 24, and then 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10. You could just keep going, but I know I'm eventually going to get to that 30, which makes my least common multiple, which is also my new denominator. So let's go. 30 divided by 6 is 5, times 3 is 15. 30 divided by 5 is 6, times 1 is 6. Well, I know I can't subtract 6/30ths from 15/30ths, so I have to borrow. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I did over here, because now I have common denominators. So now it's kind of the same problem. I'm going to borrow 1 from by 4, so I'm going to make this a 3. Now, when I have a 30, I know 30/30ths is the same. So I'm going to add 30/30ths. And I get 36/30ths. I can get rid of this so it makes it easier. Okay, so 36/30ths. So now I have to subtract 36 minus 15. Well, 6 minus 5 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have 21/30ths. Seems like it's in simplest form to me. 3 minus 2 is 1. So my answer is 1 and 21/30ths. Okay, so today's keyword is star. Your keyword is star. And here is a problem for you to try. Let's do 15 and 3/7 minus 4 and 1/14. So find your common denominator, see if you have to borrow, and then figure out the problem and restart your computer. Or restart the video. Okay, so 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. I can see that that's going to be my common denominator. I know 1/14 is already equivalent to 1/14. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, 6 minus 1 is 5 14ths. 15 minus 4, 5 minus 1 is, or 5 minus 4 is 1. 1. So my answer is 11 and 5/14. I didn't have to borrow on that one. Okay, I want to get you used to that. It's not always going to happen. So here's another one for you to try. 35 and 1/4 minus 14 and 3/8. I have a feeling on the first one, if you didn't have to borrow, that this one you probably will. So pause the video, work it out. Okay, so as we've talked about, when we have 4 and 8, 8 is going to be our least common multiple. So I'm just going to make this 3/8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. I can't subtract 2 8s from 3 8s, so I have to borrow. So I'm going to change my 35 to a 34. And I'm going to add 8 8s, because that's equal to 1. So now I get 10 8s. Well, now I could do it. 10 minus 3 is 7. Denominator stays the same. 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. My answer is 20 and 7/8. Okay, so please make sure you fill out your form. We will continue practicing in class. I do have some centers and activity sheets for you to work on tomorrow, along with me working with some small groups. Okay, have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.